Hi everyone, welcome to the True You podcast. I'm Dr. Jamie Matthews and I'm with Emile Steenveld. He is a transformational coach and speaker and an emotional intelligence coach. We had him at the Elevate Retreat. He is one of the co-founders of the Elevate Retreat this week, where we met, and I had an amazing week. I was privileged to be with you and witness what kind of work you do and transforming people's lives right in front of us. And you don't really know it's possible until you see it.
No, well, people don't realize how fast emotion can move.
Yeah.
Until they get to see it actually happening in real time.
Yeah, and feel it.
Yeah.
Feel it happening in real time, because you can watch a video about it, but you've got no emotional connection.
Yeah.
But when you're in the room, wow, yeah, it blows your mind.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. So I really want to know more about this emotional work you do. I see it all the time with clients. You can see they're sort of holding on to a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
And they're just not going there. They're sort of keeping it keeping things at a distance,
at bay.
Yeah, and how do people get in touch with that?
I mean, the biggest things these days is we're so used to being pleasured, instant gratification. We ask for it, we get it. We order it, it's there in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So when it's uncomfortable and it's painful or it's not easy, we don't like to go towards it. In fact, we push it down, we suppress it, we move from it, we do it through alcohol, drugs, sex, anything but feeling that actual emotion, right? And it comes down to, you were a child, something happened to you, and you decided, I never ever want to feel like that again. Because if I feel like that again, that is like the ultimate pain. So we avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
And then we go throughout our lives, and then this is how we behave every time certain things like that trigger us. So once you're triggered, then the emotion hits, and then you're like, oh my God, it's happening again. So that thing repeats again. And you already made an agreement that that's not good.
Yeah.
So many of us will push it back and push it to the side, or ignore it, or hide from it, or pretend not to know it's there.
Yeah.
We're so good at pretending.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
and it shows, and this is why what I do is, when I'm coaching, especially when you saw on stage, I'm watching and I'm seeing where the energy's moving. And it's really subtle. Yeah. And you'll see it because it's like they'll be trying to speak, or they're not saying certain things, and they're avoiding the whole scenario. And you saw it on stage. There were some people that were just trying to go around in circles, and then I had to keep bringing it back to that. Yeah,
it was cool because you were. It was almost like you could see through them, and they knew it. Yeah,
which made them more nervous. To hide it. Yeah. Which is
Yeah, man. It's and when you feel that. It actually scares you more. It really brings it to the surface.
Because what happens if people fully see us?
Exactly.
What's going to happen? Our biggest fears, some of our biggest fears. If you can fully see me, that means that you can see all of me. And if you can see all of me, that makes me uncomfortable, because I'm not wanting to show you all of me yet. Because we wear these masks. So what if you can see me before I give you permission to see me? That makes me uncomfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so many of them were, even before the event even started, they were uncomfortable. They're like, I don't know what's going to come up. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to be brought to the surface, because these are years, like 10, 20, 30 years of suppression. Yeah. So of course it starts bubbling already before, because there's uncertainty on the other side of that. So it's amazing.
Yeah. And seeing how, like you're talking about the mask, people are walking in with their identities, who they think they are. Yeah. And then when that's gone, how much lighter and happier people look.
Yeah. But and exactly what you're saying, before they can even remove the mask and realize that on the other side of that is the freedom, they have to fully accept what they don't like, what they've been hiding, what the shame is, what the guilt is, what they've been avoiding. Only when you accept it, then you can embrace it. It's like having a child in front of you and saying, for 20 years, you're not worthy, don't speak, shush, not now, I'm too busy, I don't have time, no one will listen to you, right? This is the shit we say to ourselves on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine a child and it's copying that on a consistent basis.
And then they're thinking, no one will ever listen to me.
No.
Yeah.
So then they show up as that.
Yeah.
But they put a mask over it and pretend like I've got my shit together, I'm cool, whatever. I'm gonna show up like this because this is how I survive. But ultimately, every time I've ignored that child, it starts to speak louder. Its voice gets louder, it gets noisier, to the point where you can't ignore it. And then people come in and they're like, I need to sort this out. So only when they embrace the child and they nurture it and they listen to it and they stop judging it, this is when they can pull the mask off, because they've fully accepted the wound and the wounded child. Now imagine you fully, and everyone here, like watching, like or listening, imagine you accept everything about yourself that you didn't like and everything that you did like. What would be stopping you there?
Yeah, nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because you would not go, I can't do that because of this. I wouldn't have fear of rejection because of this. I would put myself out there because I'm not afraid to fail, or I'm not afraid of success. And I would try things and I would learn from it instead of try things and fail and then judge myself for it.
Yeah.
Which so many of us do, including myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was a huge perfectionist. And this is why I recognize the inner recovering perfectionist in yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
You know, and wanting to get it right and perfect every single time because we get praise and we get validation.
Yeah. So you're saying you got to accept it. It's kind of like, it almost sounds like easier said than done.
Yeah.
Like how do people really accept it?
Well, first they've got to identify, first is self-awareness.
Yeah.
Unless you're aware about what you've been hiding and avoiding, pretending not to know, you're never ever going to transform it. Right? So you can't bypass it. You can't just go, oh, I'm positive now, just think positive thoughts, I'm positive affirmation. It's all BS.
Yeah.
Right? You have to really understand your dark side and the side that's trying to express and the side that's trying to show up and be seen. And you have to ask yourself, what is it that what am I here to fill? What's the gap? Now, I visualize like this. Imagine I've got a bunch of sores all over my body. And this is the I'm not good enough sore. This is the I'm not smart enough. This is the no one ever likes me. No one ever sees me. I'm a burden. No one will ever date me. You know, just all these stories, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine I've got all these and they're hidden. But I just come in and I walk around and I pretend like I'm all good. And I'm hiding these stories. Now, unless I actually nurture it and I give it love and I give it acceptance and I acknowledge that it's there and I admit it,
Yeah.
only then I can start working on ways to transform it. And how do you transform it? By actions. Whether that's doing the opposite of what you would do every time that fear comes up because that gets triggered. Acknowledging it, like I said, acknowledging a child, just say the little child's in front of it. You acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Say it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. How would I talk to that child? Versus talking shit to yourself, beating yourself up, making yourself wrong, and holding on to shame and guilt from like years. And every time you do that, all you're doing is dragging your past into your present, and that's creating your future.
Yep.
And you're basically reliving the trauma that you went through. So how do you fully accept it? You have to actually acknowledge it, nurture it, and ask yourself, how else can I nurture this? How would I talk to myself if I really supported myself? How would I talk to a child if it fell over, if it made a mistake?
Yeah.
That's the best way, because I get you to separate yourself from it and then go, you wouldn't talk to yourself like that, would you?
Yeah.
Like, remember Chris in the event?
Yep. Yep.
Chris had a problem with his weight.
Yep.
He would talk so badly to his body and beat it up every single time. And all that would do was make his journey even harder. Ultimately, he wants to be fit and healthy. But when you're talking shit to your body consistently, it's as bad as eating bad food, right? You can eat the healthiest food, but if you're talking shit to yourself, it's as eating McDonald's. And for years, he's been doing that. And only when he fully acknowledged, like, I've got this problem that I've hated my body for years, now he can take responsibility for what he's been saying. And responsibility is just being able to respond to a situation. So now that I'm able to respond to a situation, I have choice. But every time I'm blaming myself or other people for circumstances, like I have a shit body and I blame myself, it's so stupid, I can't believe it, it's fat, it's this, and call it names, then I'm staying stuck.
Yeah.
Right? So the moment he released that, you saw him on the last day at the waterfall. This dude hasn't taken his top off for 25 years.
Wow.
And the moment he admitted that he has an issue with his body, that he hates his body, the moment he actually peeled the first layer off, which is took his t-shirt off, which is massive, and he walked towards the waterfall and he threw his t-shirt into the waterfall, and he was seen for the first time in 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't
Oh,
know.
you know the backstory.
I didn't know the 25 years
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he hasn't taken his top off for a long time. In front of
Wow.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the like the image, the weight thing, people are usually blaming it on diets or what do I need to do? Do I need to exercise? It's all the things to do, and not realizing the mind is what's creating all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It all
Yeah.
comes from the mind, but it all comes down ultimately from the subconscious.
Yeah.
That's been programmed into our subconscious. And literally, like, this is the thing. You can know, like, we all know what we need to do. It's 10% conscious, 90% subconscious. So it's really about, like, putting yourself in circumstances where you don't have control. And this is what we do at our event. We make, you saw it, we put you in scenarios where you don't have control, and then organically, whatever shows up, I'm like, oh, that's it. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
All right.
I had an epiphany a couple of days ago. I was thinking about praying.
Yeah.
And I realized that when you're praying, you're sending out a message. It's like that your inner voice is sort of saying what you would like, right? And then I realized, actually, that's the same inner voice that we walk around with every day.
Yeah.
We're actually praying in every moment
Yeah.
with our beliefs and our thoughts.
It's like a signal.
Yeah. And if you're constantly praying, you're going to get what you're praying for, pretty much. So, yeah, that was cool.
It's great because now you're just starting to realize the power of your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions.
Yeah.
And when you realize that we have 60,000 thoughts a day, like, the praying is a conscious effort to go, this is what I'm asking for. It's like the same thing. We look at it behind us is this big painting. Now, we all started off as a blank canvas, and the more I create, the more I speak it into existence, and the more I follow through, the more I believe my word, and my word becomes my world. So every time I say I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow through with this, and I create it, and I believe myself more and more, and then I start to believe in what I'm asking for even more, and then it becomes a game of life where you're like, what else do I want to create? Where do I want to live? What kind of people do I want to surround myself with?
Yeah.
Because you start to trust yourself. And when you start to trust yourself, that's when you develop that inner confidence. And I say inner because it's not from external, but it's from internal, because it came from me and from my values and from my ideas, and I followed through with it. Not because when I get this, then I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
Which we all do.
Yeah, you just reminded me of, thinking of the canvas. When that canvas does get wiped, and then you're in the state of, oh my gosh, I can create anything. Like, when I first felt that, I was like, this is uncomfortable. Like, what do you mean I'm just allowed to create anything? Because I don't have my rules in place that I had before.
And why is it uncomfortable?
It was uncomfortable because I suppose I guess there was another thought in the background that was like, no, you can't do that. You can't have exactly what you want.
That's why it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because deep down, the subconscious says, who are you to have everything you want?
Yeah.
You have to either work really hard.
Yeah.
You have to know more people. It can't be this easy. You hear that?
Yeah,
It
definitely.
can't be this easy. Because what if it is? Then what am I going to strive for? Because you strive your whole life.
Yeah.
Strive for greatness. Got to get higher, got to get higher, got to get higher, right? So the story is that I have to feel pain and go through it in order to have success.
Yeah. It's almost like it's an achievement to get over the big challenges as well. It's almost like an adrenaline rush, eh?
Yeah, because it's a challenge. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you don't want it easy, but then it's also going, okay, what happens if I did do this part easily and effortlessly? How much more people could I really serve then?
Yeah, exactly.
Because ultimately I have the same story of like, I used to think I have to work harder to earn more money. I have to put in more hours, more time. I have to be more, and ultimately it's like, we all have the same amount of time in a day. It's what am I prioritizing? What are my distractions? What am I focusing on? Is this fully in alignment with my vision and where I'm going? Because if I'm fully in alignment, I never run out of time. Because I trust that I'm going to do what I need to do when I need to do it. So you see what I'm saying? It's like when I feel like I'm not in alignment, then I'm always going, oh my God, I don't have enough time. And those people that always say I don't have enough time are always in lack.
Yeah.
They're always coming from scarcity. They're always coming from chaos. There's nothing structured. So it's an interesting sway.
Yeah, yeah. And Bali's a really good teacher for going with the flow, eh?
It can be, and it can also be at your detriment though.
Really?
Because Bali's one of those places. I've been here 4 years, and it'll give you exactly what you want, and it'll come real fast.
Yeah. I think it's like a portal for manifestation on steroids.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it's
absolutely.
You think of something and boom.
Yep.
Next day you're meeting the right person or something.
Yeah. And this is why you've got to be super specific about what you're wanting to create.
Yeah.
Because it will come really fast. Like Bali's one of those places where they call the island of the gods, and it's we've got, like, you see the statue out there is Hanuman, and then you've got out there there's another statue out there, but they literally do the prayers every day, like at least 4 or 5 times a day, and their culture is so heavily in prayer and the offerings.
The offerings, yeah.
And what you've got to realize is that there's a lot of dark here and there's a lot of light. And if you want to go and party, and you'll find the parties and it's crazy and it's a lot of that. And if you want to go into the light and go into the yoga and aesthetic dance and this and that, you'll find that too.
Yeah.
So it's really about being specific about where I'm getting pulled into my attention, because it is one of those islands where people come and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. The restaurants, the food, you can dance any time of the week. But in order for me personally, I have to be disciplined and structured, because if I'm not, I'm going to get pulled into everybody else's energy.
Yeah. A lot of distractions.
Yeah. Super. And if you're not disciplined in that space, you will be doing the same thing you did back home.
Yeah. And that's the thing, coming over for this event, I actually gave up drinking.
Did you?
Well, actually, about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And then, you come to Bali and you just know, you just want to party and, everyone's happy and everyone else is drinking and whatever.
And the weather.
And, while you're in Bali, you might as well, there's just all these things going through my mind. And then, we talked about being the sheep or the lion.
Yep.
And the lion is going towards the vision that I want. And I can see that if I'm drinking, it's going to take me away. It's going to take me further away from where I want to be. So, I decided not to.
Yeah.
And
so the first time you've done it?
Yeah, especially on a trip like this.
Yeah. How did you feel on the last night when everyone was drinking?
Actually, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was proud of myself, actually. Yeah. So, yeah, that's different for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it is different because it's out of your comfort zone of what you normally are used to.
Yeah.
So it's like, now that you're aware of that, now it's like, it's not just enough to be aware of it. It's not. It's like reading a book. You can't just read the book and be like, cool. It's like, how do I implement it? How do I practice it? And that's the key to changing any behavior. It's like, how do I practice this behavior from now on? What are all the ways I could practice this? And when you make a list, then it's like, well, I'm going to start you're starting to build your confidence in yourself through temptation. So now you did that once. It's like, cool, I'm going to do this again. And you challenge yourself to do it in another environment, but you do it with friends that you know that drink.
Yeah.
Right? And you notice the thoughts, feelings that are coming up. And you notice it versus, this is the decision I've made. This is what I'm going to follow through with. And the reason being is because I'm going here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm creating.
Yeah. And it actually was easy. Like, once I had that vision in place, it was just like, oh, no brainer.
Yeah.
You know? So, me in the past, I would have felt like I was like the FOMO thing, you fear of missing out. And, oh man, I should go and visit that. So, it's been a great thing getting all these tools to shape that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going back to New Zealand a different person than I came.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely. You would have shed so many layers.
Yeah. And
this is the thing about the events, and is you're coming into an environment that you're not used to.
Yeah.
And you're mixing with you didn't know anyone.
I didn't know anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, which is perfect because you got to really experience and allow yourself to be seen in a different way. The hardest thing is when you go back, when people know you, and they're expecting you to be the same Jamie.
Yeah.
And you need to redefine who that is.
Yeah.
Before they do. Because they're going to want to treat you the same as your old Jamie.
Yeah.
Well, we used to always do this. And we used to always do this. So what's the difference? You've changed.
Yeah.
Right? And some of the biggest fears that people will have, is that the people that they love won't accept them.
Oh, yeah, going back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the people, like, it could be your parents, it could be your partner, it could be your children. And that's some of the hardest things why people will go back into their behavior, is because if I change and if I grow, if I go to another level, will they still accept me, which we've always wanted.
And possibly if you're losing someone.
Yeah. And that's part of leadership too. You know, some people are going to fall off, and we start vibrating in certain ways, and if our friends are still not doing that, unfortunately, it without you even saying it, it dissipates, it falls off.
Yeah. Or there's a rebalancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they see it and they see exactly. Or they see your being through your behavior, and there's a ripple effect. Yeah. And they say, I want that. But not through you telling.
No.
Right? Remember I was saying, I was like, so many of you guys will go back and you start vomiting all your new tools and shit. All the people
it's overwhelming.
You're like, you need to do this, and this is what I learned. And they're going to be like, oh my God, this dude's like crazy.
Yeah. What happened to this guy?
Yeah.
You're on drugs?
Yeah. Is this a cult? It's not a cult.
Yeah, I've been like that before doing landmark and stuff.
Yeah.
Come back and you're just overly excited.
Yeah.
I feel differently this time. I feel more relaxed.
Yeah.
You know. So I have no idea what it's gonna be like, but it feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what you create.
Yeah. Thank you. So tell me more about your coaching and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm an emotional intelligence coach and transformational speaker, and the reason why I chose emotional intelligence is because, quite frankly, I was shit at expressing, connecting. I didn't understand my emotions, and that was because I had a father that didn't express his emotions. I never heard him say, I love you, to my mother. And for years, people were expressing like, hey, I love you, even to a friend of mine, and I couldn't receive it. And I was always like, why does this feel weird? And it wasn't until I did a self-development course where I realized I had a problem with love. Man, even with my girlfriend at the time, I remember one of the participants saying, I really want my girlfriend to come and do it. And he's like, do you love her? And I said, And he was like, what do you mean you don't know? And I couldn't answer it. And that's when it occurred to me that I really couldn't express love or receive it or even understand it. And I made love mean that if I loved you, that was like you were my everything. Yeah. And I mean, like, I liked you a whole lot. Yeah. It was like,
that was probably mine. Yeah, similar to me as well. Yeah.
And I would do anything, and I would sacrifice myself for you. Yeah. Right? Which is just a bullshit idea of what love is, right? And love comes in so many different forms, and what I realized is that I would hold back. I wouldn't express, even when I was with someone, and I was like, oh my God, like, just say it was a girl and she was beautiful, and I thought it, I wouldn't say it, because if I became vulnerable and I said something and she didn't acknowledge it or didn't say anything back, then that means that I wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Because I had a story, I wasn't enough. So when I started getting really clear about this is when I started diving deeper into emotional intelligence and realized it's the core to everything. When you understand your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you are able to connect with yourself on a deeper level. You are able then to mirror that back into the world, and you show up as a different person in full trust of yourself. And when you can do that, and you have no fear of judgment or don't care what people think, you're free. And that's why I do what I do. And ultimately, it's like, I love seeing people come in and think this is who they are, and then we transform them to the point where they're like, oh my God, I'm not that person, and I've been living this lie because I thought this is what I had to do. And we break down these barriers and these beliefs. And you saw it at the event. There was women that didn't trust men that were like, I can now trust men. There was guy like yourself, even like, I can now express love, to my partner and my child, right, and my stepson, but ultimately you were rejecting that love, right, and that was huge. And ultimately it's like, imagine the impact on the relationship you're going to have now, because you saw that little boy in you.
I didn't really know what love was. Like, it was just a word before. I mean, I had sort of had snippets of it. But now I really understand how you can take love and have it in your business, in your life, in anything you do, and have that be the foundation. And hence why this podcast, I had to change it all up, because I just had the wrong energy before. And now this is coming from love and service, and helping people to hear these messages, so they can live their true selves underneath all that bullshit.
And that's because you've gone through it now. But if we're trying to keep it looking good and keep it perfect, then we don't connect to people. Like, perfectionism is the fastest way to disconnect from who you're trying to connect to. Vulnerability trumps it any day. And when I'm vulnerable and I'm actually admitting like where my faults are and where I've stuffed up and how I've shown up, then you see someone that's like human. And ultimately, we're all human beings. We just want to be seen, heard, and understood, and we want to be loved. So imagine that every day we're like, you know what, I'm not perfect, but you know what, I'm doing my best. And because of that, I don't have to prove to you, because I'm proving to myself that I'm worthy of it. And how would I show up differently? Versus I'm trying to keep it looking good, keep it tight, keep it bright, And it's like, ultimately, this is probably why you changed the name of your podcast.
So still definitely need to work on this more, but great. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. Well, is there anything else burning on your mind that you want to share, or?
No, I mean, ultimately, I think what can I say? Besides understanding you, if you want to go deeper, you've got to connect to yourself. Ultimately. And we've got to stop bypassing it and pretending like it's okay. And understand that every single emotion that you're experiencing is necessary. And not to make it wrong if you're angry, make it wrong if you feel guilt or shame. These are emotions that will rot you from the inside out. And this is why people are leaving so free now, is because they've actually come to terms that they've been holding on to guilt or shame or hurt or sadness or anger for 15, 20 years. And this is why you saw their faces shifting. Like, as soon as they left, they were like, it's like they dropped weight.
It is.
Literally, right?
They look lighter.
And that's what it's about. It's ultimately, this is what it's about. It's about getting people to understand that they don't need to hold on to this anymore. And then when they're open, that's where the canvas is really clean, to be able to go, what do I want to create? Who do I need to become now? Not in 10 years. and how am I going to practice this? So, man, I'm still kind of coming down just from the event, because it was a full-on experience, right? It's 4 days of holding space, and now it's like really time for me to reflect as well, and really go in and what I learned. And I'm always learning every single event. And I'm always checking in and going, okay, what did I learn from this? How could I have showed up in a better way in this part? And each event, each speaking gig is always getting better, because I'm focusing on service and support, not help. And through that, it's like, where do I want to take this now? Just like I'm challenging you guys, like, where are you going to take this now? I need to challenge myself. Where am I going next?
Yeah, what's your vision for the world and emotional intelligence?
My vision is to support hundreds of thousands, if not millions, more. And I want to be speaking on more stages.
Yeah.
I'm building my brand out even more now.
Yep.
You know, who's Emile Steenveld as an emotional intelligence coach and thought leader and transformational speaker. And really in a way where it's in alignment with me. I'm never comparing with anybody, any other coaches. Yeah, it's always about like, am I in alignment with myself?
Yeah.
And what lights me up? And
Yeah.
even after every single event, I ask myself, does this still light me up? Am I still in alignment with this? Even though it feels so good.
True.
And the reason being is because we can get so caught up in the high emotions.
Yeah.
And this is why I was saying we don't make decisions when we're emotional.
Yeah.
Because you're either going to make a great one or a poor one based on how you're feeling through pure reaction.
Cool.
So for me, this is where I'm going next. I'm going to be speaking more. You'll start to see more of my stuff coming out. I'm actually launching my own podcast too. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's going to be where I'm actually coaching people on, say we're having a coaching session.
Yeah.
But I'm doing live transformation.
Whoa, that's going to be powerful.
Yeah. So that's to differentiate. Like you got to check in. It's like, why are you going to be different from everybody else? What's your genius?
Yeah.
You know, and find it in yourself.
I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah. So that's where I'm looking at going next year. Yeah.
Awesome. So how can people get in contact with you for the podcast and what you're doing with coaching? And
they can find me on Instagram at Emile Steenveld. Just Emile Steenveld on Instagram, and then go to my website www.emilesteenveld.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I hope we see another Elevate.
Yeah, man. We I haven't promised anything. We're looking at ways of how we can create it. We'll probably, if we do it, it will be once a year.
Yeah.
We did twice a year this time, and it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And a lot of preparation to go into that. So again, that's what I'm saying. You have to be like, ultimately, I didn't sign up to this to be an event manager. I signed up to be a coach and a speaker. And I obviously you saw I love coaching and speaking. So I'm like, how do I do that more?
Yeah.
Right. So we're looking at ways of how we get more of a team in.
Yeah. So ideally, you're just walking in and doing what you're good at, and all the other stuff's taken care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
That was awesome.
Thanks, brother.